like, oh my god, last time on Almost Heroes.
We woke up in the Quiet Lands. We woke up at dusk. We were being protected by our new friends, Nybarg, and I think we're aptly calling him Red Fury at this point. Shortly after awaking, we were attacked by a bunch of big, angry hyena gnoll-looking guys. They kind of got the jump on us. We were able to defeat the gnolls and learn they were the slavers in some local camp. We parted ways with Nybarg and Red Fury as we made our way back to Tin Town. We learned that the Evan Depths to the north has a mine that's viable, but that mine is currently being run by a group that enslaves its workers. So that's kind of how we connected the dots of that Gnoll group, which is likely collecting slaves for the Evan Depths. Glenn accepted a quest to track down a set of heirloom armor from an old man in town that he almost killed. And Rangrim felt a new connection to the symbol in his hands with maybe some other living beings that he didn't quite recognize before, and that's where we left off.
Yeah, so thank you very much for that. And with that brings us to episode 19, River and Woods. And so we're going to pick up in Tin Town in the morning. Thankfully, you all kind of stayed up through the night or stayed up through the day and then went to sleep at night so we could get everything back on schedule as far as everyone's sleep schedules go. And so we don't really have to spend too much time on it. But if there's anything that you wanted to do kind of in the morning, aside from like your normal rituals, we can go over that. But yeah, we're picking up in Tin Town just kind of in the morning. It's just kind of quiet and peaceful.
So Glenn slept again in the hot tub, keeping an eye on the door with Poe. As he rises kind of early dawn, he would get himself ready, do his usual reps, spark the green flame blade, and kind of summon Chandrel, and just start dancing his way through the morning.
So kind of on cue, Chandrel appears kind of a little bit not like distant from you in a weird way, but just kind of just off to the side, leaning against the wall, and goes, Glenyaris, it seems it is truly morning this time.
It's a little more apropos for our usual encounter, so I figured I'd give you some time to catch up. Maybe there's some other people you had to visit, but I wanted to get your opinion on something. I ran into a unique encounter with someone who wasn't necessarily out to get anything directly from us. He had a job for us, but I have a moral high ground conversation I'd like to have with you.
Of course.
So I'm traveling with some new companions, and one of them's a little, just got a stronger moral compass than something you and I might expect to accomplish. That little dwarf Cosmo, I'm sure you've seen.
Of course, yes, I have seen that. He seems to have some pretty steadfast morals.
I have a bit of a quandary. We kind of got a lead on this nice chunk of armor, and I already have the golden hand, but that it was someone's dying wish, and generally I'm the one giving them that wish to grant, but this guy's actually asking me for me to return the armor and possibly just take the gold. I don't do that, right? I take both. I mean, what would you do in this?
You still have to live with yourself at the end of the day. See, stealing from those you find to be foul and maybe aren't deserving of what you are relieving them of is one thing, but taking it of someone who will sorely miss that which you're taking, it's quite a different thing.
Appreciate it. And I take a swing at her head and just commence the training.
She, as you're swinging at her, you see her smirk and disappear, and then just kind of you hear the swinging wind as her double-bladed scimitar swipes down at you, and it's gonna be a 21 to hit.
That hits.
She seems to be trying to teach you a little bit of a lesson with your abrupt attacks without warning, and you feel this thing slap pretty hard against the inside of your ribs as she comes down from the side and goes, "All right, I guess we begin. And then, so you go through this training regimen, and before the end of it, you can tell that she's kind of like that. Her ability to persist on this plane is getting a little bit harder. She's like, as your hits are connecting with her and with the blade, like they're kind of sinking in a little bit more, and she kind of just like jumps back and kind of sheathes her double-bladed scimitar and goes, I've thought about this adversary of yours and your inability to find them. I think that, in my experience, just following along with the organic path that lays out in front of you, I think that I have a feeling that your paths will meet again. And with that, she disappears.
She like starts to fade. Like, I feel like I already knew that. Okay. And I start to like pack up my things, and I head over to the arcane library, and I look for a book on illusion magic off the shelf, and I pluck it and I put it in my pocket, and I just start walking out and start heading towards Cosmo. You were staying at your mom's house, right? I just head towards Cosmo's house.
Yep. So you pop a full book into your Jinko jeans, I assume, and you walk right on over there.
I imagine there's like tomes, and there's like, books. I just grab a little book, Fahrenheit 451, like 110 pages tops.
You grab your Ari Salvatore novel and you walk over and you head on over there.
Old Man in the Sea. It's 70
exactly.
pages.
You throw Moby Dick in there and you head on over.
He's got a big dress. Size pockets.
It's true.
Yeah. Do you know how big my sleeves are? And
it just clunks against your leg as you walk over there.
Get to Cosmo's house, I'm assuming unharmed. I'm just making my way over there.
Yeah, no, you make your way downtown, walking fast.
Faces pass, and I'm homebound.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting shanked by Regalia.
Yeah,
probably.
Constantly. Yeah, you make it over there without issue. Cosmo, what is Glenn finding when he gets to your house?
He is comes in, and mom is making dinner or breakfast. I'm still upside down. What you just see Cosmo walking out of his room. Oh, so much sleep. I have been sleeping for the last 2 days, it feels like. I slept last night, I slept yesterday, it's today. I just no more sleeping for me. I'm done. I can barely stay. Keep my eyes closed.
So you're gonna be wide awake for the rest of today.
But well, I might be running with the horses and just be pulling the cart myself.
I'm confident that you would get us there faster than those beasts, but we'll see how it goes.
But don't say that around Rangrim.
I would never.
And he just kind of comes out, and Amy, my mom, is making breakfast. She knows that we are leaving town for an unknown amount of time, so I imagine she's set us up with a good care package.
Absolutely, yeah. She's kind of like packing it all away right now, like storing like some things that are gonna last a little bit longer. She doesn't know how long you're gonna be gone, so like absolutely over preparing you all with like fresh food and also like some that's gonna last a little bit longer, more preserved.
Bunch of salted meats.
Yeah, some bunch of pickled lizard tails and everything else, all the good stuff.
Hey, there, Mom. Did you happen to be able to stop by that one place to get something for the gentleman? There's what is those DOS dogs?
Hold on, you wanted her to pick up DOS dogs for you to pack them away?
Yeah.
Oh, of course, honey. By the way, that is some questionable meat. Are you sure that you should be eating that?
Well, the Glen and
I swear there was a tail sticking out of one of them.
It's just the case, and don't worry about it. That's what Das told us. He's definitely a trusty individual.
Okay. And she hands over this like much too large satchel that's like probably the size of a small duffel bag.
Oh, you're the best, Mom.
I said that's gonna be just enough to feed you. I'll look for food on my own. I don't know if I necessarily trust some of that squirrel stew last time I had. I just about died. I say with utmost respect, Amy.
Uh, different tastes.
Right, you can have the dust dogs, and I'll eat the rest of the good dwarven food.
Perfect.
Uh, I think we're ready to go. We just meet Rain Grim down at the livery.
I'm
Um,
assuming he slept with the animals yet again.
Right.
your mom, like before you're heading out, like kind of gives you a hug from behind you and just says, just be safe.
I will, Mum. I will.
And as Cosmo like walks out past in front of him, Glenn's like, "Ah, it's so cute," and he like shuffles his hair with his hand.
Cosmos doesn't even shake it off. He just enjoys it.
He's like, I love my mom.
It's me, Mom.
I guess we had delivery.
What?
Yeah. So you're able to make your way down there without issue. Like I said, it's kind of quiet. With the mine still being closed, like you can tell that there's probably like it just seems like there's less people in town. They're out doing other things, scouting or whatever the case may be. But there's just like a lot less activity than like the pre-mine closing. But yeah, you're able to make it down to the livery and Rangrim. What do they encounter?
They would find me sleeping in the cart as I was up most of the night repairing it.
Mhm.
Pretty sure Glenn still got that spa package for the donkey and mule, so I don't even know if they're there. They might be getting their hooves done, or who knows what kind of service they got going on there. So Rangram was just at this point like asleep in the back, but the cart itself is pretty well mended, I'd assume, as he spent most of the entire night using mending as well as his own forging skills to fix the iron cage as well as make the cart itself just more stable and shore it up so it could hold more weight.
Nice. So you're still leaving the cage structure on there. You've just kind of repaired it to make it stronger.
It's less of a cage and it's more of like a canopy, I'd say, on one side.
Okay.
So
Cool.
there's no real locking mechanism, but we could chain things to it pretty easily.
Nice. Okay. So you've like removed the back section of it then, so it's open.
Yeah, it's open, and that way we can, easily get things in and out, and would have used some of the metal to repair other bits and pieces of it. So it's not like a slaver's cage we're trucking around anymore. Just a really cool iron cart, and it says Rangrim on one side of it in metal.
Awesome. Hell yeah. That is absolutely metal.
It's basically a decommissioned cop car.
It's metal.
Is metal. Yeah, it's just like the Crown Vic that's driving around. You can clearly see used to have the police like badging all over the side of it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to ask is like kind of before everyone is there anything you all are doing to prepare for the journey before, aside from the delicious satchel of food that you have from Cosmo's mother?
He's ready.
Yeah, it's actually a good question. I would have assumed, yeah. I probably would have stopped. I don't think we need a RP. I would have stopped and picked up some health potions at, I think Pops is where we hit it before. I would have stopped by and picked up a couple regular health potions for myself.
Okay. Yeah, I think that you can probably pick them up just from the straight general store. So you're able to do that, and just 50 gold a piece, just like normal.
Yeah, pick up 2.
Sweet. Awesome.
And I have my very slim and comfortable to carry book.
Yes, of course. Your romantic novel.
Well,
Yes.
did anybody see Luther at all? Glenn, you went up to the place, didn't you?
Yeah, no Luther. We actually kind of had an interesting interaction. No Luther. Thankfully, no regalia this time. And I'd kind of nudge Rangrim, wake him up. Yeah, I was just telling him no regalia, no Luther. I saw that the wacky wavy arms really paid off. Got lots of job opportunities.
All right.
Some
Well,
interesting ones here and there, but I was actually approached by an older gentleman. Was not your daughter. Almost stabbed him. Turned out it was against better judgment to just start impaling people, so I held back. And he actually offered me a quest, if you will. Cosmo, I feel like you might be interested in this one. It's a chance to track down a family heirloom. he just kind of approached the situation, knew we were adventurers, and said, upon returning, we'd receive payment. So if that's something you're interested in, just got to head due south to the river. And apparently he's got some nice family armor that he just wants returned from a hometown. They were more or less chased out of there, if I remember correctly. Is that something you guys might be interested in tackling? Kill some time before we try to see if we can't find Luther again. We still have that note for him.
He's gonna pay us when we get back.
Yep, he said once we return the armor, we'll receive payment. So,
Well,
Insight check.
Yes.
that's fair. So deception against insight.
Yes.
26.
I was gonna say my deception is so bad. I don't know why I lie. Sorry. Plus
It's just in your
4.
nature.
That is you got a 26.
Yeah.
Bad news,
Fuck me,
bud. I got
dude.
a 6.
Well, it is golf rules.
Yeah.
Rangrim just kind of looks at Glenn, like purses his eyes a bit, and is like,
I was gonna say you literally you absolutely like he might as well be like smirking. You can see everything like you can see he's lying like fucking X-ray vision. It's ridiculous.
Yep. Well,
Well-
if that's what the man said, let's go, Cosmo.
That's his exact words. Payment on return.
But-
And I just get in the cart and don't make eye contact.
Well-
You're such a bad liar.
yeah, statistically, he's a terrible liar.
So let me get this straight. We're gonna go find this armor of his dead relatives or something, and we're gonna bring it back here to him.
That is correct. He is actually, I don't know if you guys ever met him. He's just the old man in that shack down that way, and I point the way he pointed previously.
Oswin.
I never quite caught eyes with him, but he's somewhere around here,
You
probably old and walking.
you almost shanked old man Oswin when he was asking you to do. He was gonna pay you to do a job.
Hey, last time I tried to talk to Gary, I got shanked by Regalia, so I'm not trying to hear it from you. When you start getting stabbed by your friends, we can start having this conversation.
Well, whatever. Let's go get this armor for old man Oswin, and then we'll carry on.
So he didn't necessarily tell me exactly where it was. He mentioned it was by the Highwood, south of the river that's leaving the lock over by Whitport. I don't think we necessarily make our way back up towards Whitport. I think we just kind of.
I thought it was to the south. You said.
Yeah, so if you head south, his description was that if you head south, you'll hit the river and then follow the river east into the Highwood, and then you, like in the woods, you will run across his like house, his old house, if it's still there, and it'll be along the river. So as long as you follow the river into the Highwood, you'll run across it at some point.
So we just need to hit the river. It's just due south of us. Follow that along a little bit. Maybe float, do some fishing. We can maybe make some quick gold.
Right.
Interested?
Well, right. Well, seeing as we always can use a little bit more gold, we can do this real quick, I suppose. I got some time. Rangrim, you good with that?
Oh yeah, we'll go get armor, and when we come back, he pays us, and he's just kind of making awkward eye contact with Glenn, and gives him like a thumbs up, like very, very conspicuous.
Glenn just starts smiling. It's like, yep. When we get back, we get paid.
Right. Well,
Mhm.
Do you want to drive the cart, or do you want me to take it? I think Cologne and Champagne are caught up. Are they re-hitched from their spa treatment?
Yeah, I mean they should be all done up by their spa treatment. I like the idea I just saw in chat of them having like beautiful braided locks, like of their manes being all braided. So I think that's canon for what they look like right now.
Absolutely.
This is bougie.
That's a good name. If we get another donkey, we can name it Bougie.
12 donkeys, all still going 1 mile per hour.
It's gonna look like Santa's sleigh.
Who's Santa?
There.
All right, Rangrim, southbound it is. Why don't you take us?
All right.
Yeah, so you head out of town, of Tin Town this time in a direction that I'm sure that you all have headed out before, but it is a direction that we haven't done so in this campaign. But you head out to the east, outside of, you kind of head up the bowl, like normal, and heading out of town, and like it still has that like kind of eerie quiet to it that like something is not like right, but it's not. You can't really like. It's not like, oh, there's something wrong. It's just like, it's weird for this town to be this quiet. And you head out of town in the morning, maybe kind of before everything is getting kicked off, and you head out east, and you're kind of like, you can always see, like, it's hard to see it from town, but like from up on top of the rim of Tin Town, like as you're heading out to the east, like you're kind of like heading towards the Ebon Ridge, these kind of like looming mountains, like you've never thought of them before, but now like that that they're potentially for Cosmo, they hold the promise of like solving the problems with town, and then also they like to the rest of the party hold this looming danger of like the Ebon Depths and like this like slavery organization or operation that could be operating out of it, and like what else they could hold. But they're these like giant mountain range, consists of at least 2 active volcanoes that are not like spewing lava forth at any point in time, but like you can see at night, especially, like there is a little bit of like an orange glow from the top of them, and then like the blackened and blasted sides of these kind of like looming volcanoes, and just they kind of strike you for the first time as being a little bit more ominous than you've thought of them in the past. Yeah, you are just kind of traveling south, directly south at this point, heading down, trying to kind of with the Von Hurst Lock on your right-hand side, and then the Ebon Ridge on your left. And yeah, so kind of like, what are you all doing while you're traveling throughout the day?
Right. Well, Cosmo is under the canopy. I don't think he's driving. He's not usually the driver. He usually holds up the rear, and I think Cosmo is just spending the day looking through his father's journal and just and eating snacks, just seeing what his mom put in the bag.
Yeah, you're like all your favorite things are in there. As you're kind of going through them, probably not rationing them maybe as much as you should be. Maybe, I don't know.
He's leaving some to share, but
yeah, as you're snacking on some like dried crunchy lizard jerky, yeah, you're going through this journal. Is there anything in particular like that you are focusing on, or are you just kind of like reliving these stories of your father?
Right now, he's really looking for. He's very curious about Moradin. And I think there's just this looming thing about the revivifists claiming that they can restore the gods, and so he's just kind of like he's trying to find any more clues or anything like that. I don't know what that was like for the Sundering for him, and when the gods left, or just anything around it,
Yeah. And I think that probably is later in the journal. There's probably like, there's like this part of this like kind of more epic part, and probably the part that's more fun to read, which is like the history of your father as like an active paladin for the Golden Grim like army, and part of that like that dwarven empire, and like just the fantastical like airships and all these really amazing things, and like just all doing this like through the power of Moradin and some of the other dwarven gods. And I think that the part you're into now is part that you probably don't read as much, because it's just like it's more dark, it's a sadder time, which was that like the fall of that, and like the loss of Moradin, and like this. I think that's something that kind of sticks with you, is this feeling of like your father's just like resilience. Whereas like people around, like dwarves around him, like some of them were struggling with this like, I don't want to lose my powers, my clerical powers, my divine magic. And so like some of them struggling with this like taking on and accepting the divine magic of these new like some people saw them, usurper dwarven gods, which were the Oathkeeper and the Battle Rager. Your father's like resilience to not do that, and kind of the internal struggle that he wrote a little bit about in this journal. And so like this is the part you're going through, is just like this internal struggle. But like one thing that you kind of like strikes you is that like throughout that, even without the magic, like he always felt a connection to Moradin, even though like he, like everyone said he was gone, and everyone else, and like he didn't ever have magic powers from that point. There always like he was steadfast in his belief that Moradin was still there because he could feel it.
I don't know what to say. I have nothing.
No, yeah. So you're you're reading through the book, and like you're just kind of taking that in as you're crunching on these crunchy lizards, and just sitting in the back of the cart. Glenn, what are you doing during your journey?
So Glenn's like position during travel now is just to be like on top of the cage, laying down, staring up at the sky, just kind of like listening. I have this like amplified hearing now, so I've kind of come to terms with the fact that I can hear better than I can see. So I'm just kind of, legs folded, just kind of kicking a leg, staring up at the clouds, and sit up and kind of look over to see Rangram, just kind of driving the car by himself, and Cosmo's occupied with his journal, and just kind of sneak my way and slink myself in the seat next to Rangram. I'm gonna lean over to him real quietly, go, "Hey, Rangram, we're gonna keep a little bit of that piece about the bounty that comes with this armor between us, right? I just don't want to lead Cosmo astray and dangle the carrot of gold in front of him. Want him to really focus on the moral high ground of this scenario. Make him think we're just doing it out of the goodness of our hearts. Keep us here, right?"
Yeah, because I mean, it will crush him. That one there, his honor and all that. He's a good boy. That one, not so much. You. How much gold did this guy give you already?
Yeah, I mean, we don't necessarily need to be hurting people's feelings, but I understand. It was a good sack. That's actually something I wanted to bring up as well. Is he never even recognized him? He lives in this shack of a home, and he had 2,000 gold just to hand over to a name and ask for a chunk of armor to come home. I mean, that seems about as suspicious as it gets, doesn't it?
2,000. Yeah, that seems a might bit suspicious. You're not incredibly insightful, Glenn, are you?
Statistically, no, not that much.
It's fair. Glenn, I do need a stealth check from you. So whether or not Cosmo's hearing this conversation.
29.
Okay. So you are able to bend your words away. It's like as if the wind around directly into Rangram's ear somehow.
Yeah, I'm not overly insightful, I suppose, but I am the one who got us the 2,000 gold bounty while you were. And I look back at the cage, be like, I don't know, knocking the rust off, whatever you were doing.
This thing's awesome. Look at you got Cosmo's over there sitting in the thing, and we have 2 donkeys or a mule. I'm not really sure what these. I heard that's what they call these things, mammals. You got lots of them up here.
Yeah, I think you've named them in every way possible. Donkeys, mules, horse, dwarf horses. I don't know. We can call them whatever the hell we want to, but they're definitely ours now.
Horses?
I mean, they look like horses, and they're smaller. Dwarfs look like humans, and they're smaller. So it's
that's offensive.
To the horses or the dwarves?
Yes.
All right. So we're in agreement then. We keep the bounty between us, and we just happen to get paid at the end of it.
Yeah, it sounds like we're walking into something. So, yeah, just don't tell Cosmo. He's too, good-mannered, and I'm doing air quotes, but obviously you cannot see that.
I felt them. I appreciate you keeping this between us, and yeah, we need to keep an eye out once we start getting close to this old man's house, because I've got all the heebies of the GBs going on from this guy. So use some of that insight you keep bragging about, and keep us safe, yeah?
Is that contagious?
The heebie-jeebies?
The GBs?
Yeah, it grows on you. You eventually learn them. It's an old elven trick. I'll show you. It's a surface thing.
I'm all right. You want to drive the car for a minute? Because I feel super uncomfortable sitting next to you because I don't want your heebies getting all over me and giving me jeebies.
You've got him. You've got him. Trust me. We were within
Oh.
6 feet of each other. You've got him.
No, not wearing face masks.
I did have one other question though. I apologize for this, but I snuck one of your magic cigarettes that you have been keeping in your beard, and I was curious where do you get some of that tobacco? That was some good stuff. Do you have like a plug? How do you find that?
I'm almost out actually, but mostly from the ground.
You just pick up anything off the ground, smoke it.
You can smoke all types of weeds.
I'm a little bit concerned that you were worried about my GBs when you just smoke anything off the ground, but you know, to each his own. It worked for me last time. So if you see any more of that, let me know. I happy to help resupply and restock if needed.
And Rangram just kind of reaches into his beard and like attempts to do like a cool like roll it over his fingers, sleight of hand thing to hand it to Glenn. You know
What'd you
what?
roll?
I'm gonna actually roll sleight of hand for that. Oh, he did wicked good. That was a 17 because I have a 0 to that.
Yeah, I think that you absolutely do like the cool like thing where you roll it through your fingers and you don't accidentally do the thing when you get to the end of that where you fling the thing off into whatever direction, like when you're trying to do it with a pencil.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Glenn catches it and puts it in his mouth, then just pulls out one of his little daggers. Green flame blade, lights the end of it. Lights it, hands it back to him, says, appreciate it, Rangram. I'll see you back up top. And I just climb my way back up onto the cage. And
This one was grown outside Cosmo's house.
you don't need to tell me these things. Ignorance is bliss, my friend.
Just smash cut to Amy outside going, these smell weird. doing gardening out there, like, what?
Is there a skunk?
Yeah, what is that? But yeah, Rangram, is there anything that you're looking to do during your journey?
Well, Rangram is mostly just he's actually overjoyed with his new like cart and the donkeys, and he's very just enjoying his like travels because you know the last time they were just going to Whitport, and then we were in Tindown for like 4 years, and then we were in Windport again. So Rangram's just happy to actually be out of Tin Town, which is the only home he had known on the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not good at showing it because Grey Dwarfs aren't very good at showing emotion. So he's got a little bit of like a smirk of joy on his face, but it looks crazy to everyone else.
He caught the GBs.
Yeah.
Jeez. Awesome. So you all are able to. I'll actually roll me. I'll take a perception check from the three of you, just for general perception during the travel.
Sure.
Is this audio or video? Because I either get advantage or I don't.
Or,
You can have advantage.
nasal.
True. Yeah, because you have the advantage of you guys are like the three monkeys at this point. Cosmo can see pretty decently. You can hear pretty decently, and Rangram can smell everything. So you got all the gambits covered.
And I did shower while I was at home.
Oh, I noticed.
Just for you.
I still
Ranger.
smell like flowers. I haven't decided yet, but I still smell like Cologne.
But
What is that? Sandalwood? That's nice. That's nice.
it's real now.
Yeah. What you guys get?
I rolled a 16.
Nice.
I also got a 16.
It's a 13.
It's pretty quiet. You pass some people on the road, but it's generally like people that look like merchants. They're traveling with carts. It doesn't look like anything like too conspicuous, and so like just over the course of a couple maybe like soldiers pass by at some point, but it's nothing too crazy, and I don't think that there's anything that is gonna kind of raise your hackles for like, hey, we need to stop and talk to these people. And like, especially like maybe after encountering Red and that whole thing with those soldiers, like maybe like staying a little bit on the down low is more what you're looking to do. So yeah, you're able to successfully make your way, and like it's starting to kind of get dusk. And as it's kind of the sun's getting a little bit lower, you actually see that kind of the gleam and the reflection off of a river ahead of you, and kind of a bridge crossing that's over by that river.
And this is around. You said it was starting to get darker. This was.
Yeah, it's kind of it's kind of like dusk, so it's going to be getting dark shortly, and so this is kind of like you are able to catch this in kind of the last rays of sunlight.
So during any of the 10 minutes during that time, or I think it takes an hour, I would have turned Poe into an owl, because we're going to be camping at night. So I need something that can see at night. So
Pooh.
I turned my familiar Poe into an owl.
And now he's named Pooh.
Now he's named Pooh. So Pooh is just a all black owl. It literally looks like a raven that has an owl's head.
And he goes, Pooh, Pooh, Pooh.
What do we see as we get close to the bridge?
So yeah, as you're getting close to the bridge, you don't really see anything in particular. You just know you can just the river as probably you've seen on maps, but also like kind of how it was described by Oswin. It is going almost directly east and a little bit to the south. And then the bridge crossing is just like a pretty well-traveled, wide bridge. And the river itself it's not extremely wide. It's like you would be able to forward, across it if you really wanted to. But it's kind of like, you can tell it's probably like a good 30 feet across or so.
Well, boys, I'll be honest, I didn't actually ask Oswin what side of the river it was on, and we kind of have a 50-50 chance of being on the correct side of the river for this one, so we take the north side or the south side of the river? Cross the bridge or stay on this side? What do you think?
Didn't you say it was in the Highlands?
It's in the Highwoods, yeah. He just said to hit the river and start heading towards the Highwoods. I don't necessarily know which side of the river he meant.
But, well, I mean, hitting the river just implies like you just get there and you turn south, right?
So this side or the other side? Because what if we have to cross it at the end? I mean, that would just be so inconvenient.
Well, Glenn, you're the one that got us into this quest thing, so flip a coin. I don't know.
I think you're onto something. All right, heads or tails, and I pull out the coin of the guy who talks to me, and I flip it.
It automatically starts talking. I'm just kidding. No, actually, you haven't had anything from that coin in quite a little bit, which is probably a little bit unnerving, because I think you heard from it before, and this is totally a tangent, but you heard from it before you guys even left to go back to Whitworth the last time. So it's been a while. Yeah. So what did you flip?
So as I flip in my head, I'm like, I hope he's not dead. And then as I catch it, it lands on tails. So I would say we take the bottom side of the river and we cross the bridge.
What? And then the donkeys just start going because like I accidentally do like a thing because I was wicked not paying attention.
Yeah, so you cross over the bridge, and you can see that there is kind of like, they're not as well traveled, but there are pathways that run along either side, almost like of a canal. Like there are pathways that run along this waterway, because it is a main feature. And so like as you pass across that bridge, like you can see that there is a little bit rougher path, but there is a path that runs east along the river into the Highwood.
Say we follow that path.
Yeah, so as you're heading towards this forest, the Highwood, the sun's kind of setting behind you, and you are, after a little bit of travel, the trees become denser and denser, and as these trees are getting a little bit like kind of darker, like you start seeing like the flickering light of a campfire of some sort, or light of some sort, that seems to be just inside kind of one of the denser copses of trees along the path.
Hey, Rangrim, you see that over there? And I point over to the fire.
Yeah, the fire that's there?
Yeah, you think we maybe make some new friends and set up camp for the night, or
I
we
mean,
start our own camp?
I think if we might as well just go see what they're doing.
All right, we maybe park our cart on the side of the road. How do we make sure it doesn't get attacked by any animals or anything?
And the path you're on is relatively narrow, so it's probably not wide enough to like for two carts to pass side by side. So like your cart's taking up majority of the path. So if you parked in the middle of the path, it's gonna essentially block the path.
Oh well, we might as well just bring it off in it. Is it like a clearing? Do we know it's like a clearing where the fire is or anything like that, or is it?
Roll me a perception check so we can see. It's still a little bit in the distance and it's obscured by trees. You're just kind of seeing the flickering light on the reflecting on the trees and through it, kind of.
That is a 9.
Yeah, flickering light.
Well,
Yep, that's
what
a
if
fire for sure somewhere.
right? Well, what if we just get up there? We see if they're friendly type, and if not, we just keep on, and we'll find another
I
spot.
agree. That's a good idea, Cosmo. Glenn, you're sneaky.
I was gonna say, I feel like Cosmo's really the face of the operation. He really puts the best foot forward for the group. But yeah, I guess I could take a look, and I take off my bright white robe and throw it in the back of the cart, and I just kind of jump to the nearest tree branch. Are there tree branches? I'm on top of the cage. Is there a canopy that I can kind of hop to and from?
Yeah. You're able to get up there. Roll me a athletics check. Or no, sorry, acrobatics.
That is much better. One's a +0, one's +8. 25.
25. Yeah, so you're able to very much flip yourself up into that tree canopy and kind of like doing a combination of kind of swinging from the bottom of the branches and jumping off of the other ones, very Naruto styling. You kind of flip through these trees and you are able to bring yourself to the edge of this very small clearing that is, and what you see is just a figure that is wearing a pretty dark cloak that is obscuring them and their face, and they're just sitting around a relatively like kind of just like a minor fire. You can tell that they probably are trying not to attract very much attention, and they're just sitting on a log, and they have like you can see a pack of 2 packs that are sitting on the ground, and this person is just kind of sitting looking at the fire.
I would stay up in the tree as hidden as possible. And how far is he from the tree line to the fire?
I would say that the clearing itself is probably no more than 20 feet, like 15 to 20 feet. So it's pretty small clearing.
I'm gonna take okay. I'm gonna take my earwig, and I'm going to use one of its features. Sorry, I need to find it.
Can you roll me a stealth check too, by the way?
Absolutely. It's a 15.
Okay.
I tap the earwig twice to record up to a minute of sound. Yeah, so I record a message saying, "Hey, there's some weird guy here. He's just kind of staring at the fire. Looks real lonely. I think we can make friends." And I take the earwig and I just hit the button so it starts playing on a loop, and I hand it to Pooh, and I fly him back to Rangrim to like land the earwig, or basically hand him the earwig.
So
Yeah,
Rangrim holding it, and it is just like looping that.
It's just looping Glenn's voice saying, "Hey, there's a single guy. He's looking kind of lonely. I think we could be friends. Hey, there's a single guy. He's looking kind of lonely. I think you could be friends. Hey, there's a single guy."
Rangrim just staring at it and just like pushing all the buttons, and he's just like
What?
getting noticeably frustrated. I get it. I understand.
No,
How do I?
hit the other button. This one. Right there. Do that one. That one.
And he does that.
Is it?
Does it stop?
It pauses.
You smash the earwig.
Maybe.
Oh, it worked. Whatever it did, it worked.
Just smash it like an alarm clock. No, yeah, you're able to. It kind of like it seems you're able to click the right thing, and the message stops playing. Is Poe bringing it back, or are they now in possession of the earwig?
I mean, if they put it down, Poe would pick it up and fly it back.
Okay.
Yeah, Rangrim, take it.
Yeah,
So it kind of crawls. It kind of crawls
just
up onto the end of your finger, Rangrim, and then Poe is able to pick it up off there.
Poe's like pecking at his hand to get it back. Like, okay, come on.
Rangram would just take the cart and make his way towards this lonely gentleman's encampment.
Yeah. So you kind of roll up. Glenn, give me a perception check without the earwig.
Didn't matter. That's a natural 20.
Oh shit.
26.
Glenn, you hear the sound of what sounds like rustling of feathers of something, and then you see a very big form of like a humanoid-sized figure in a tree pretty close to you that you didn't see before. And they seem to be, as you kind of look over slowly and are, with your stealth, you see them look directly over at you, and you see just a very big bird-shaped humanoid figure that is kind of shrouded in the darkness, and you can't really see them, but you just see their eyes reflecting, and you guys are looking directly at each other.
Very, very slowly.
Yes.
Just wave the friendliest I can from a tree, I guess.
Yeah, so you also see the form kind of, there's at the same kind of just slightly after you, this kind of like feathered arm kind of comes up, and you now are just kind of looking at each other and slowly waving. But in the meantime, Rangrim and Cosmo are rolling this cart up into the camp, and you just hear the figure say, I'm not looking for any problems, so I hope for your sake you aren't bringing any with you.
Well, no problems here. Mostly just snacks and good times and some good dwarven ale.
Snacks and good times. Yes.
They kind of just sigh and seem very tired, and they don't really say anything else, and they just kind of like presume looking down at the fire.
Or some quiet company. That's fine too. You can have some ale and some snacks.
Yeah, you see that they kind of raised their hand up, and it was engulfed in flame, and then they kind of just their hand extinguishes, and they go, that doesn't sound too bad.
Right. Then my name is Cosmo. This is my friend Rangrim.
Oh.
And my friend Glenn, he's somewhere. He's bringing up the rear. He'll be around at some point. But then we'll just set up camp, then, if you don't mind.
Be my guest. There's not much room in here, but me and my friend are not going to be staying here long, as is, just kind of catching our breath and continuing to head north. My name is Grilder, and my friend over there, and as he looks up, you see a Aarakocra, a eagle person, come whipping out of the tree next to Glenn, and just kind of lands with actually relatively softly on the ground next to Grilder. And my name is Era.
Hello, Era.
As Grilder looks up, you kind of see, you get the distinct impression of like elven features, but there's this strange gleam, like there's like something on his face is like reflecting and catching the light like this gold, but it's almost like it's just like kind of patchy, but it's catching the light underneath his hood from the fire. And Era is a kind of like light white and dappled light brown colored Aarakocra.
Right. Well, we're just gonna get set up camp. We'll probably be staying the night here. You can carry on when ready.
Glenn hops down from the tree and starts walking over to, kind of like following Era, and says, you're real sneaky on that one. I can usually, actually, I guess I can't always catch people. Sometimes I notice people. You snuck up on me on that one.
Oh my God, thank you so much. I've been trying so hard.
Really? Okay. The stealth does not match the personality. I got it. Got it. Took me for a loop on that one. Nice to meet you, Era.
Whatever.
Extend a hand to shake her feathered hand.
She seems to be kind of miffed at you and your kind of backwards or your backhanded compliment, and just kind of crosses her arms and looks at you and puts her head up, and that's what you get.
Well, Glenn,
I see another one.
Glenn, I think you hurt her feelings.
I'm sorry. It's a personality tick. It's called a complisol. It's not supposed to hurt as much. It's actually my way of being nice. You can ask them. The point of the
He's yep. He does it all the time.
It's a friend thing. I'm impressed by your ability to get the drop. That's something nice.
At least he's not trying to kill any of your family.
That's another thing I do when I like you.
Persuasion.
Me or him?
You, Glenn.
What am I persuading?
Era to not be mad at you anymore.
I'm terrible with persuasion. It's probably like my deception. It's like 1. Oh, it is +1. 14. Not bad.
Okay. I'll say that while she doesn't cool off immediately, you do seem to have she kind of like does eventually like kind of seem to soften.
Look, you seem like a really cool girl, and I have something that you might be interested in. And I mage hand pull a magic cigarette from Rangrim's beard, and as it's floating past me, I light it and then hand it to her and like, just try it. It's a good time.
Yeah. Let me see. If magic
peer
cigarette
pressure.
is
Peer pressure in Aarakocra.
Yeah, so also her she doesn't roll anything like to try to like stay away from it. So like she takes a big old drag off and she's like kind of coughs like this is terrible. We have so much. Get the stuff that Santino made. And they pull like Grilder kind of like sighs as if he's just kind of over this whole thing and pulls out of his bag this like pretty like decent satchel of what looks like some sort of like other herbs, like hands it over to Era, who then hands it over to Glenn to smell.
I breathe in deeply. I smell the bag and I look over to Rangrim after like taking a whiff. I'm like, I don't know if this is good or bad, but it doesn't smell like something that came directly out of the ground. What do you think? Should we try it? And I hand the bag to Rangrim.
Rangrim is already just like, what's that? And like just beelining over for it. This smells great.
Awesome. Yeah. So you guys are able to get it all prepared, and so are you the two of you partaking in that?
Rangrim's rolling up a, I don't know, cigarette, joint spliff, whatever we're calling it at this point. You guys ever see that gif of Tom and Jerry where he's like a cowboy and rolling up a cigarette? It's very much like that. Like Rangrim's really into this and really happy at this point because
just one drags it.
This is smells absolutely better than everything that he found outside Cosmo's mom's house.
Lynn is 100% seeing what's going to happen to Rangrim after he's just single dragged this whole thing.
Okay. Rangrim, make me a charisma saving throw.
And that is a 17.
Mine is not.
Yeah. So as you inhale this dankest of herb, it is you feel like there is some sort of like the desire to kind of tell the truth and just kind of like let loose of secrets kind of hits you, but then like you're able to kind of fight that urge and not spill your deepest secrets. But that is kind of the aside from just like it being a lot better than the stuff that you were secretly growing outside Cosmo's house. It is that is kind of the situation that you find yourself in.
Grim's like, that's this. I like this stuff. I used to keep my grandfather's eye in my pocket as a child. Why did I say that?
What wait, hold on. You took what from your grandfather?
This stuff is wonderful. Well, I didn't take it. He gave it to me.
I look to Cosmo as like, are we okay with the fact that he just carries around family heirlooms and body parts?
I don't have it anymore.
Well,
it's probably more concerning.
He brought it away in my pocket. I had it as a kid. It was there for a while, and then it just turned into like mush in a pocket at one time, and it was really gross. And one time, I was in these tunnels, and it attracted a whole bunch of these like large spiders to me. And why am I telling you this? And then he just storms off to the cart.
Era is absolutely laughing, and you can even see kind of a smirk from Grilder as they're watching this kind of like play out. And Grilder just kind of says, "Yeah, that can happen."
As I'm handing back the bag, I'm like, sounds like we need to find ourselves Santino whenever we get a chance.
Yeah, head south to Drifton, and I'm sure you'll run into him. I don't know if he's still there, but that was the last place I saw him.
Drifton's popped up a few times, hasn't it, Cosmo?
Well, I don't know. Maybe time or two.
Okay. Where are you guys headed from Drifton then, Grilled?
Well, I have some bad memories down there, so we are actually heading north. We kind of heard tales of there's some sort of group growing in the north that claims to have some lack of affinity for the current set of gods that we're allowed to like. And we kind of both find ourselves in a situation where we aren't really satisfied with what the Empire is allowing us to like and follow.
Sounds like you're thinking of joining the Revivifists. We've ran into a couple of them along the way. Pretty nice.
You see, you definitely see, like Era and Grilled are kind of both. They kind of you catch an eye between them and goes, "Yeah, I didn't expect anyone really else to know that much about them. We just recently kind of became aware of them. Seems like they're getting a little bit more notoriety, but yeah, they've some of the claims. Actually, curious. Do you know whether or not what they're saying has any kind of validity to it?"
Cosmo jumps in. He's like,
Aliens. Yeah, Glenn like can feel him fidgeting, getting ready to jump in and be like, I think Cosmo might have something to say on the subject.
I really want to know too. Because they just say that they could do all these things and nobody knows why or how, and I want to know too.
Like, that is exactly what I've been saying. Era's like immediately jumping on this too. Like, that is exactly what I've been saying. Grilder, I've been saying this, and he's like rubbing his face. And he's like, yeah, I know, but he's like, that guy in the tavern, he talked about them like finding something that had gave them the idea. All right. We don't know whether or not it's true, but it's too big to not at least find out, right? Like that's where we're at with it, is just like
right, yeah. I mean, we're on our way to do a thing, and then we was likely gonna head up that way, because if you say that you can bring back the old gods or whatever, and apparently there's a thing, I haven't heard that, but I just want to know what, how do they boast of such a following, and clearly now you're hearing about it in Drifting, and nobody knows why or how they're planning to do this.
Yeah, we ran into a guy, I don't even know, soldier or something, I don't really remember, but talking about how they had come from the north and the claims, they had a little bit more knowledge. It seemed like that they're like some sort of artifact was kind of where these claims are coming from, or artifacts they're looking for. Something seems tangible though, and so I don't know. That's why we're going up there anyway. It's something to do.
But yep, no, we may make our way up there eventually. I mean, it's not the first thing on my list, but definitely has been on my mind a lot since I ran into a fella sounds like much like you did.
Cool.
Well, Grilled, you keep mentioning you're just going north. Do you have a town in mind? They give you a location to hit?
No, we were just gonna kind of go north, and he's like saying this with like the most just like bored, like I don't want to fucking talk about this shit, but he's just like, no, there's apparently fighting, and we were figuring we just hit the fighting and keep going north from there. I don't know, anything is fun at this point, and to be honest, a little bit of excitement and combat wouldn't be the worst thing. We've got things to forget.
Right. Well,
Hell, if you wanna kill some things, just stick with us. Seems like we end a fight every other week or so.
right about that.
Era's like, oh my god, and then Grilder's like, no, we gotta, no, I don't want to do this. No, we're going north.
Right. Well, if you want to fight, then just follow the noise, I suppose. But Glenn, where did he tell us to go? Roshir?
Yeah, Rangrim's good with the names. Rangrim, what was the name of the city we were supposed to go to?
Drippin'.
Okay, so that's not right. Yeah, I think Goshir was right. That was Nybarg, our big orc, the orc, big happy singing orc.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, Nuremberg, the big fellow.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
whatever funny thing you smoke that has you telling stories also makes you make up names.
I do that in general. Honestly, it's a defense mechanism because sometimes I get nervous that I can't remember people's names and I just tell them by the wrong one. Why am I saying this shit? And he just once again like off to the cart with the donkeys for a moment, and then
Right.
before he looks back.
To collect himself.
Right. Well, go to Ghost Shear, and you'll find somebody there.
Big art, playing music, just big guy, little loot.
Right.
You'll find the right person.
Sure.
It sounds like so much fun. She's like, you can see Era's like totally like kind of bouncing up and down a little bit, like with excitement. And Grilder's like, I knew we shouldn't have camped here.
I can't really picture you two being friends, but I think the balancing act is a nice touch. It's cool seeing opposites attract like this.
Sometimes it's just kind of happens, I guess. It's situations that can bring you together. And Era like throws an arm around, like a wing, I guess, around Grilder, and is like, he loves me. And then that's kind of like you just see him like totally he turns very red, and kind of like as you're looking at his face a little bit more, you actually can see like definitely elven features, like maybe not as sharp of ears, but there seem to be like gold dragon scales, almost like gold scales, like climbing up the side of this elf's face underneath the hood.
Oh man.
Want to see her throw the arm over to Cosmos. See, that could be us. We just need to open up and have a little more, flexibility and relate. Like we could be on that level. We've killed things together. I've been stabbed multiple times. You've been stabbed multiple times. You've almost died a couple times. I almost died a couple times. We need to break down these walls, man. Maybe I think if you and I just tried a little bit of that magic cigarette that Rangrim tried, we could break down these barriers.
Right. Well, to tell you the truth, maybe, but I reckon your lack of goodness might put a wedge things at times.
I 100% attempted to persuade you on that one, so I'm going to roll persuasion against your insight.
Yeah, go for it. I'm not gonna force Cosmo to peer pressure to smack Wed, but if it's totally up to you to kind of play this out as you would like to, Cosmo.
Wait, are you trying to get me to be a better friend or to smoke Rangrim's funny cigarettes?
I'm just trying to break down these barriers between us, just really, really open you up. He was telling us about his grandfather's eyeball. I feel like you're so guarded, so tight, You smash one person's head open all over the floor, and all of a sudden you're just like so intense all the time. Just gotta cut loose.
Well, no. Well, if we're being truthful, I was the one that was peer pressured into coming in to talking to our friends here now. And you just wanted to hide in the trees.
All right, so, and I just start walking over to Rangrim. I think we can start setting up our tent for the night. Grilder and Era's real nice meeting you. I'm gonna go ahead and set up my camp, and I hop up on top of the cage and
wait
just
a
kinda lay
minute.
down.
Wait, I thought we were breaking down walls. Where are you going?
It's okay. We can save these walls for another day. And just starts to go into his trance.
Oof, oof.
Right.
Yeah.
So who has the wall? I can tell who has the walls now, Glenn.
I think that both Era and Grilder at this point are sitting there like, should we like get another camp or what? Because this is awkward.
Well, don't mind Glenn. He'll fine. He'll be all right. You don't have to go nowhere. But it sounds like they're headed off to bed. I'll likely be doing the same. And are you guys gonna be spending the night, or will you be moving on?
I think we had planned on at least catching a couple hours of sleep before heading north, but I think we're still trying to head out before the break of dawn. So, yeah, I think that we're gonna be probably. We have kind of our situation set up in the trees just outside of the clearing as to not leave ourselves completely available to the things that walk on the ground.
Right. Very well then. I mean, I'll be setting up camp here with on the ground, but it's good to know someone's at least nearby for a little bit if something were to come about.
Yeah, with how you're treating your friends, I think you're gonna need some people outside of that circle to come to your aid if you need it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so they Era kind of like looks like and then like oh shit, and then flaps her wings like pretty much just one powerful like flap them and kind of lifts herself over the tree line and lands just outside the copse, and then Grilder seems to kind of like he does like a couple things with his hands and seems to like become light in the air and pushes himself off the ground and kind of like he seems to kind of like float his way over the tree line, and they land somewhere just outside of out of view. But yeah, is there anything you all want to do before bedding down for the night?
Not particular. Glenn's just up on top, counting sheep, or whatever the Sikal version of sheep are.
Rangram, how are you doing with your mini freak out?
Regrim was spending the last several minutes just speaking to the donkeys because he can't like stop talking. So he decided he was just going to talk to the donkeys, and he looks over and he was like, "You guys are both all right. I'm going to go to bed." And he's like struggling to he's like fighting back words, and then just like throws his bedroll over his head and just sitting at the front of the cart.
Yeah, very liar of you.
Yeah.
Cosmo, what are you doing?
Nothing. I think Cosmo is going to probably take a little bit of like a first watch. Okay. Mostly just to process and think, but also just to kind of be aware be up for some time.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Roll me a perception check.
Sure. Perception. It's an 8.
Okay. I'll say that you certainly hear things in the woods. Some of them, I don't know how much time Cosmo has spent in the woods. This is probably like a little bit more of an unfamiliar situation for you. So like the noises of just like what exists in the woods are relatively alarming to you. And so you see, you don't really see too much during it. Nothing breaks through the clearing, but something does kind of catch your eye in like maybe in the right before, and like it's kind of when you're getting a little bit tired, so you don't know whether or not this is something you actually saw or what it could have been. But you see kind of a shadow extend out of into the firelight. That doesn't seem right. It seems like it's like facing in. Like there's like this kind of slight shadow that kind of like cups into the firelight a little bit of this circle of firelight around the ground, just for a split second. And you don't see anything there. You don't see any figures that are casting that shadow. But you don't even know if you actually saw it because you're tired and the fire's burning low. And that's what you get. Yeah. So at that point, would you just go to sleep, and who would you be waking up for second watch?
I suppose after that, it would likely be end of Glenn's trance, right?
Yeah, probably be waking up as you're going down.
Just give pretty much a report of nothing, and yeah, that's pretty.
Okay. So
You tell me about the weird shadows.
I think Cosmo at this point is just kind of weirded out by everything and not really sure whether he's playing mind tricks or just too worked up about all the new noises.
Yeah, so as Glenn's kind of coming out of it and walks over to Cosmo and just like taps on his shoulder, it's like, I got this one, man. Go ahead, grab some Z's. I'll keep an eye out, especially for our weird little flying friends too.
But
Then take watch. Perception?
Yeah, roll me a perception check. Okay.
15. 15.
Okay. Yeah, so you are like at this point the fire has kind of like burned down low unless you would be stoking the fire itself. I don't know whether or not you would be doing that.
Yeah, he would definitely keep the flames alive. I mean, he's
okay.
traveled enough to know that fire keeps enough things away to keep a fire alive.
Okay, yeah. So you sit around the fire then, and you're keeping this thing alive. And as you're sitting there and you're kind of looking out into the forest, like I think that your mind is like you don't see any of the shadows or anything strange like that. But like as your mind is kind of wandering, like your mind is kind of like on like Regalia, and I think that that's something that like is constantly on your mind, is just like Regalia and like trying to figure out like where is she gonna like. And I think that this is something that's come up before where you've been like kind of struggling to like not feel like she's constantly around you, and you as you kind of like look at the fire and then you look up, you are like absolutely terrified for a second, and because you see what looks like the face of Regalia looking at you through two of the trees, just outside of the firelight. It's just like you can see firelight casting off of this like very pale gray and like stark white hair that's looking at you literally through like these two trees like this.
I would jump to my feet, and I would start to draw the no-blade scimitar, just not necessarily say anything yet, just have it in hand, staring at the face and waiting for it to make any kind of movement.
There is no movement. It is still there, and the next time that you blink, it's gone.
Okay, and this is right around sunrise, just like the middle of the night?
It'd probably be the middle of the night. It's probably pretty early into your watch, maybe like an hour or two into it.
Okay, so now that I'm very much on edge, I summon Poe back and I say, "Hey, we got to keep a lookout, man. There's something in this forest. I don't know if it's our pointy little friend or if it's something else. But my mind's playing tricks on me. I need you to help steady it." And I just kind of cast him up into the sky to do a perimeter search.
Okay. Yeah. Do perception for Poe.
Oh, nice. 19.
Magic. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, says
I would say that you're confident in Pooh's ability to see in the darkness, and you kind of set them and they're kind of whipping through the lower parts of the trees, so their vision is not obscured by like the canopy or anything like that. They're going through the under canopy and traveling down this path a little bit more, and they like you're looking through the eyes and you're getting the feedback from them and you don't see anything. And so after like you do this, I mean, would you be doing this probably for the rest of your watch, just like on edge?
Yeah, I would be kind of just constantly checking in with him pacing and me just, scanning the tree line, looking for, anything that's starting to move, encroach in on the tree line.
Yeah, so you finish out your watch in a extremely stressed out manner, but you don't ever see anything after that point. But that's kind of where you're at. And at that point, I think we're probably looking at around it's getting to around sun, like the sun is starting to it's not up yet, but you can tell like you're within an hour or so of the sun coming up, and you actually hear the sounds of and you kind of see it over the tree line. You actually see two figures kind of head off, like kind of one of them flying and one of them kind of like floating more over the canopy, and you just hear like a like bye, and then the two of them seem to be heading out of the forest.
I just yell out, say, "Good luck, Era. Good luck, Grildir. Hope you find what you're looking for." And I start stamping out the flames. And once the fire's well subdued, and I'm not going to start a forest fire, I go over to the cage and just start like rapping on it lightly with like one of my daggers to wake up the guys. Like, hey boys, it's time to get moving. Our guests have left, or I guess we were their guests, and I think we need to start making our way towards that home.
Yeah, let's do that. Did I say anything else weird?
No, I don't think so. I don't really.
Did he talk in his sleep?
Yeah. Did Rangrim talk in his sleep?
I think at best you guys probably would have heard like amidst like a symphony of different levels of snoring. You would have heard like, "Oh, love them donkeys."
Well, that is the truth. So he definitely was still under the influence of that truth weed.
Look over, is like, nah, you slept soundly, man. It was all good. I mean, I don't know if I necessarily want to know how you got your grandfather's eye or why you were in a situation which he would give it to you, but considering you cut your own out in the last few months, it seems on brand with the family. So I'm gonna leave that one.
Yeah, he cut his out because my father died. That's why I cut mine out. It's a whole thing. You don't care.
Well, I mean, Regalia didn't die. I saw her like a couple hours ago. She was just there, and then she wasn't. But my mind's been playing tricks on me lately, so.
My daughter was in the woods just staring at you. She's just stalking you, doing spooky things, noises outside your campsite, huh?
I mean, does that surprise you?
Yes, that's a very strange thing for somebody to do that's trying to assassinate you with magic faces.
I guess that wouldn't necessarily be your type. Maybe it was just a trick.
Ooh, spooky. Hey, Glenn, look over there.
I look.
Boo!
He just looks back to him and shakes his head. Let's start moving. And I just start
Intimidation
walking.
check, Rangrim.
Nice. Natural 20.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think that the similarities, though very different between Rangrim and Regalia, I do think that there is still a little bit of that like fear and just like that intimidation that was coming through from like the night before, and like you just kind of being on edge that like catches you off guard, and you are a little bit more scared by that than you, I think, want to allow anyone to see normally.
He tries to play it off, but it's very obvious he's still shook. He's like, let's just get on the car and get the hell out on the road because these forces are freaking me out.
Yeah. Hey, Cosmo, guess what? And he's just walking off to the car to go find Cosmo.
Yeah, so I think that you're all able to like the sun is kind of rising. Of course, it's kind of dim because you guys are in the woods, but the sun is still kind of getting through as like dappled, like spreaded light through the tree line. It's getting deeper as you're going in, but at this point, it's still like kind of like a low light situation. So yeah, you're able to get the cart all packed up, get the tent all put away, and you all are able to make your way deeper into the woods. And as you're traveling, you're traveling along the river still, and like the path kind of travels away from it for a little bit, and then it comes back, and it kind of like meanders in and out of this tree line, and kind of you get a little bit more light coming through when you get near the river, of course. And the amount of like overgrowth and the stuff along the path, just like this creeping ground covering plants, is just kind of becoming more and more pronounced as you're getting deeper in, and you're seeing these like actually roll me a perception check for all of you.
Glenn wouldn't really be looking for what it's worth. I mean,
okay.
If there's an auditory value to this check, then I'm happy to do it, but if it's like to see what the forest looks like, he wouldn't really be paying attention.
Okay, yeah.
24.
Yeah, so what did you get, Cosmo?
A 1.
A 1? Okay, you...
He's reading his book, or the journal.
Yeah, you are like... I think that you're just like so unfamiliar with the woods in general that like none of it, like everything around you, you're either looking at it so much or like that no new information is getting through to you that's meaning anything because it's all new. This kind of like extremely dense, like old growth forest. But Rangrim, you're starting to see these like and your cart's starting to kind of roll over them too because they're kind of in the path. But you're seeing these like faintly glowing, like violet covered mushrooms that are like this kind of shaped like like a seed pod almost, the way that they go up and kind of come to a point. And they're kind of small, but you can see that there are larger ones, and then there are larger clumps of them that are kind of, as you're going and heading further into the forest, they seem to be becoming more common. And as your cart's running them over, you're noticing that they expel this like almost shimmering dust cloud. And as you go, you start noticing that the air itself is kind of having this kind of shimmering kind of commodity to it. And it's kind of low on the ground at first, but as you're kind of driving through it, there's like this, it's kind of starting to swirl up a little bit with like the passing of the cart through it. It's almost like this low fog that has this like shimmering quality. And I think you all at this point are starting to notice that there are these like, this is a little bit weird, and that there are these like glowing mushrooms that seem to be kind of like bioluminescing in this dark forest that is now at this point pretty much pitch black.
That's cool. So that's kind of like providing light almost, like it's literally starting to like provide like an underglow.
100%, yeah, and it's like this purple light that is that you're kind of this purple underglow light that's like illuminating the trees that it's partially growing on, and then like the ground around it. That in this and especially because there's this fog, it's refracting off this fog too, and providing this like slight purple glow.
This doesn't. As you guys have this up here. I mean, we got weird glowy mushrooms in the Underdark, but this doesn't seem normal.
Seems to be coming from those little purple mushrooms. Anybody recognize anything like that? You said you've seen something light up. You've seen the glowing mushrooms in the past, but do they look like that one, or is it?
Well, they don't look like this. They're not spewing out dust and things like that. In the Underdark, there's lots of weird things that glow and weird fungus like that, but not like this. I don't know if we should be breathing that. Hey, Cosmo, take a real deep breath.
You're the one. You're the one with the good nose. Why don't you do it?
Well, I mean, I can smell it, all right. Like, but it's everywhere. It's all I can smell now.
Well, I reckon.
What does
Are
it
you
smell
breathing?
like,
Are you guys?
GM?
I was gonna. Well, okay. So, are you trying to take a big inhale of it?
I'm not taking like a deep breath, but I feel like I would just be generally aware of what it smells like.
It's like this slightly pungent smell, but it almost has like a chamomile, like a very like pungent kind of like floral smell that you're getting. But it kind of like has this kind of creeping, creeping viscosity to the back end of it.
Mm. Well, it's not awful, but it's getting kind of thick. Like I like feel it like dripping down the back of my throat here. Rangrim just kind of takes his beard and just sticks it over his face, and is holding some of his beard up over his face with his eye patch.
Yeah, Glenn would have taken like a scarf that he like kind of wears around his neck and just kind of cover his nose. Granted, he's also kind of above fog level, but he's like definitely not trying to inhale that. Do we see like anything ahead, or is it just like really freaking dark? Like, can we see a house in the distance, or is it?
So at this point, you've been traveling for like kind of half the day at this point, and so you're noticing that. So are you just planning on keep going? You don't see anything at this point. Like, you're still traveling on this road, and you know that like the Highwood is a pretty long trek to get through, like all the way through the Highwood. And so like at this point you haven't seen anything, and you're close enough to the river at all times that like you feel like that unless it was extremely small and very dilapidated building, you probably would have seen it.
Okay, so yeah, is anything happening to Champagne and Cologne? Are they having a bad time? Because they would be. That's actually
right
a
very good question. Luckily, I have my handy dandy mule carts, so I'm gonna take a look at what their thing is.
One's a donkey. One's a donkey.
True.
One donkey, one mule.
Of course, I'll give them completely different stats. Don't you worry, I got you.
We demand representation.
One's a dwarven horse, the other is a donkey.
Yeah.
We established.
Um,
They're,
yes.
they're
so,
talking donkeys now. Yes, they can talk.
So as you're traveling through this this fog, and as it's getting a little bit thicker, it's starting to kind of rise up from the ground a little bit, and it's getting, as they're kicking through it and walking through it, like it seems like it's getting to the point where like it's kind of above like where their nose level is at, and they kind of like, you notice that the cart just kind of seems to slow a little bit, like they seem to be kind of having like just that like very lethargic is kind of the phrase that I'll use for it. It seems like travel is starting to slow down a bit.
So, kind of noticing this, Glenn would kind of like lean over the edge of the cart and say down, or the cage, I guess, and say to the guys like, "Hey, I don't think our steeds are doing so well. I think they're starting to slow down even more than they normally do. We need to maybe get them out of this fog. This seems pretty dangerous."
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea, but Rangrim's gonna look to his left or right. Does it even look like there's anywhere where it clears aside from just turning back?
Currently, right now, no. It seems like that this is kind of like a pretty, like it is pretty ever present around you right now, and like especially because like you are this far into the woods, like it's just like this. The fog is like this obscuring force, and because of the light reflecting off of it, it definitely is like this kind of obscured, opaque view that you're getting.
Well, I think maybe try to stay on the cart then, because if we start breathing this in, we might start looking a little dreary like our donkey friends. Hopefully we can persevere through this without ending up like that.
Let me try something here and see if I can get ahead and try something. And Cosmo is going to cast Find Steed, and he's going to conjure up a spirit warhorse.
Fucking awesome. Yes. So what? Okay. So this is an amazing spell. So I didn't know you had this. What does your warhorse look like?
I don't know. I think it's more of like an armored horse. It kind of like comes up as a and it has like this spirit translucent look to it, like a shimmer.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So kind of like a semi-spectral warhorse with this armor on is kind of what you're describing.
Yeah.
Dope. Yeah, I mean, I love is it like how, like the idea of you climbing onto a Clydesdale is a very amazing image. Is it a smaller scaled down warhorse?
Yeah, it's not like a Clydesdale horse, and it summons, and I can just jump onto it from the cart.
Cool. Yeah. So you use that little booster seat to hop onto there, and I will say that the height of that is giving you a little bit of an advantage over this fog. You're able to see a little bit over it, but yeah. So you're going to scout out ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go, and it's just, well, I'm gonna just take this ride, and I'm gonna move on ahead and see if I find anything, and I'll come back.
Did you know he could just summon horses, Rangrim?
No, he doesn't tell me anything.
We need to get him
Why was I finding donkeys this whole time when he could just poof, here's the thing to pull our cart?
I mean, we have Cologne and Champagne. I mean, that's...
I know, and they're amazing, and his horse is dumb, but I just didn't know he could do that.
But there's a lot of things you don't know about me, but...
That's my point! And as he rides away.
We'll talk about this later.
We'll talk about this later. Okay, so Cosmo, we'll get back to you and what you are doing in a second. Rangrim, are you keeping the cart going, or are you stopped at this point?
I would keep going.
Okay. I would say that you probably make it like a pretty short distance later, like maybe another 10 minutes before the cart stops completely, and it seems like both of the mules, they are just like kind of knelt down and seem to be laying on the ground as if like they have bedded down for the night. still attached to the cart, but they have like laid down in the middle of the path, and you can hear subtle subtle mule and donkey snores coming from them.
That's adorable.
That is adorable, isn't it? I mean, hey guys, problem?
I mean, it's fine. They just tuck it themselves. It's been a long 6 hours. I mean, they that's a lot of work to, tow this big old car. Maybe we can just wait for Cosmo to get back and let us know on his magical super horse what he found.
Yep. And what could go wrong as Rangram just climbs to the top of the encaged part of the back of the cart and just kind of sits up on that.
You both are sitting up there at this point, like on top of the cart.
Yeah, I pull out a deck of cards and I deal him a hand of cards, and I set like Pooh on a branch, and he's just kind of keeping a lookout on the cart while we wait for Cosmo.
Cosmo, how far down the path do you go?
I would say I'd probably move, not like a quick pace, but like a steady pace. Probably move to about 50 feet. Something where it's like I haven't quite lost eyesight of them.
Oh, okay, so you're not going that far then. You're literally just like going slightly ahead and then coming back.
Well, I mean, I would just say like I'm kind of moving in increments. Yeah, like at a certain point.
At like that far ahead, you're not seeing anything new. Like you're seeing I mean, they're still like, you see them climb up on top of the cart and you see the donkeys lay down, but that's pretty much all you would see at that distance.
Kind of recognizing that he is at the maximum of still being able to eyes on the cart as well as not being able to see anything different. What is the road? Does it still look like there's a clear path, or?
Yeah, it's grown. It has these like creeping undergrowth that's kind of going across it. But you can tell like it doesn't seem like this path is very used this deep into the woods. It seems like there are things creeping and growing across the path that that if this was well traveled, it would have been trampled apart. And so like you are able to follow the path because it was well worn at one time, but it seems like it's relatively unused at this point. Okay. And yeah, I mean it seems clear enough. You can see a straight path ahead of you.
Okay, all right. Then I think he would probably go another 50 to 100 feet, as long as I think. The biggest thing is that as long as the path stays, well, yeah.
So you get out there, 100 feet out, and roll me a perception check.
Sure. That is a 18.
Yeah. So deeper into the woods, you see, just for like, it's like kind of in the haze of this like fog, which is kind of starting. It's like it is creeping up as time goes on, and you see this like what looks like this kind of like very transparent blue figure, like way in the distance, like probably at least another 100 or so feet ahead of you, kind of like just through the trees a little bit, just kind of there, and it's just like this slightly humanoid-esque figure that is very like a light transparent like blue color.
So see a thing, translucent figure. Do I see like any it's just forest is just getting thicker at this point?
The forest is staying around the same amount of density. I mean, again, I guess it is getting a little bit thicker. Like it's as you're going closer into the middle of it, it is getting like older growth. The trees themselves are getting thicker and older and like more gnarled as you're going into this forest. Less light is coming through it, but you guys are pretty like into it at this point, so it's not noticeably different very much as you're going deeper in, but the path is getting more overgrown and you're getting more of this fog and more of these purple mushrooms. That's kind of what, and then this figure that's just kind of seemingly standing out in the distance between like kind of just off the path.
Yeah, no, like even seeing like seeing this anything abnormal at that point, I think he would realize that's far enough, and he would turn back.
Okay. Yeah. So you turn back towards the cart, and you kind of start riding back. And it's then that like you're kind of like riding back, and you hear like this pop, like these small popping noises. Just kind of like pop, 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 and you look around and you see that these purple mushrooms seem to be kind of bursting open, and this fog that you're riding through is suddenly like rising up and getting so thick, and you're like riding your horse back through this fog trying to get back to the cart. And I need actually Glenn and Rangrim, you see Cosmo turn back around and start like riding back through, and then you also start seeing that these you start hearing this like kind of ambient popping noise as these purple mushrooms all around you seem to like come alive, and this fog just kind of comes up and overtakes both of you, and I need all three of you to make me Constitution saving throws.
Shit.
So
Rolled a 19 plus 2, so 21.
I rolled a 23.
18.
Yes. So all of you, like you feel this kind of like this burst of this thing, and like your vision is like pretty quickly obscured. It's almost like you're going like literally driving through fog, and you're riding through fog. And so like your vision is automatically like you cannot see more than like 10 feet in front of your face. Like that is just where you're at. And you're able to make it back to the cart. But as you feel this wave of lethargy kind of come over you, and then you feel something try to kind of like reach into your mind, and as you get back to the cart, you kind of look over to the side, Cosmo, and you see that there is just a spectral blue figure of a woman that is standing directly next to the path. Rangrim and Glenn, you see it as well. And she just looks over at you and cocks her head and disappears. And that's where we're going to end the session tonight.
Oh, neat. Nothing spooky there.
It's Cosmo's mom. We're fine. It's Amy.
Yeah. She knew that he was going to eat a snack souffle.
She missed it.